students and to some teachers who wish to be part of the peer support group, or for teachers who wish to have a very good relationship, no, healthy helping relationship among students. And then it would be different this time, no, aside from us learning this together remotely. This will end me combining both significant themes, no? uh, Empathetic and leadership in this very challenging time. And I hope I will be able to provide significant insights this afternoon, useful for us in our day-to-day life. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so Stephen Covey, I know if you're familiar with him. He's a best-selling author. In his book, The Leader in Me, actually the book is about it's a narrative about different stories, success stories of parents, teachers, schools, and business leaders around the world, preparing the next generation to meet the great challenges, no, of the 21st centuries. And then the intention is to develop leaders one child at a time. And the question now is, how can we start developing leaders, no? How can we start developing these children? So every time I will facilitate a leadership workshop, I will start presenting this force field. But before this, my mga activities like to elicit or to draw the responses on specific theme like self-awareness. But this one is, it's also a part of self-awareness. And yes, this is an example of the force field. So if you notice, this will be an opportunity also for the participants to re-examine their very selves, and an opportunity to revisit the self. If you notice now on the left side, I'll be asking them to enumerate and provide at least 3 attributes that they consider driving forces to become good leader. And then on the opposite side, 3 things that they consider that stops them from becoming a good leader. Siguro no, on your own, you can also try to respond to this. Okay. Processing of the responses will give us a much clearer picture. So how they are considering every attributes by giving them time to explain, to provide reasons, and together by asking them how they are feeling with the activity, and how they are feeling for their responses. So it would also be best to ask them, no, how they're feeling, knowing those other attributes shared by their other co-participants. And then this will be the questions. No? These questions might help them see a clearer picture. So, what did you learn from yourself? Are there any discoveries about yourself? Then how did you feel about your responses upon knowing those attributes that drives you? How about those upon discovering those that stops you? And then what attribute or trait you consider most helpful? And what can be done with those that stops you, or those things that you consider, or factors that you consider that stops you from becoming a good leader? And upon knowing all this, what do you intend to do about it? What is your plan of action? So through these process questions, we hope to give an opportunity to revisit the self, no? To re-examine, an opportunity to self-assess, so self-assessment. Okay, this picture, I got this from a modular work text for NSTP, for NSTP advisor. Before, I also had an experience being an NSTP advisor for quite some time. I think 3 years or 5 or 6 semesters, I think. So it's Understanding National Service Training Program work text. So this is also another way of stimulating the mind of the participants. The instruction is to choose a number that best describes your position as a servant leader, So where am I? If I were to ask you, what will be your number that best describes you, that you feel you are right now? Maybe you can try, you can key in your responses to the message section so that we will know. And then if we just have enough time, we can process all these responses, and then we can give you opportunity also to explain. And then we will be able to find out different responses. According to Spears, on that same book, the following are principles for servant leadership. Okay, the first one is listening. Listening. So the leader seeks to identify the will of the group and helps clarify that will through listening receptively to what is being said. So when we say listening, not just for the sake of listening, no? So we also know that there are 5 levels, right? 5 levels of listening. So the lowest level is the ignoring, which is technically not listening, ignoring, and then pretending, followed by selecting, and then attending, and then the highest level is the empathic listening. So this of course, in a very empathic way of listening. Okay, so attending is, yeah, it's listening, but at the back of your head, you're just you have your own opinion about the one being shared, no, about what you heard, about the message being heard. So this one, it's an at the highest form of listening. And then healing, I think this is where the capacity of the leader to mediate, to facilitate conflict resolution. So her skills in conflict resolution might be an important edge, no, on this area. And yes, conflict, no, whether we like it or not, it's there. We cannot. There's no way we can prevent, no. Wala nang conflict. There will always be conflict, even in a relationship, no, in a in family or whatever groups, no, there will always be conflict. So I usually call that one as a necessary evil. Necessary because it's there. It will uh, really measure our capacity, how strong the bond of that specific group. And then evil in a way that we don't, it's very undesirable, but yes, it's helping the group, no. And awareness, so not just being aware of the situation, but holistic awareness, not just for himself or for herself, but for others. So awareness. Persuasion, not depending on the positional authority in making decisions. You were able to convince the person because you are the leader, you are the head. No, it's not like that. But primarily on the ability to convince by providing sound reasoning argument. Conceptualization, so this is the ability to look at situation beyond. So you know how to conceptualize. And then foresight, the ability to foresee the outcome, the consequence of the decision for the future. And then building community. So you can creatively establish a community. So they said a good community is highly influenced by the kind of leader it has. No? So it's good. Building community. And lastly, empathy, which I call it red. The capacity of the leader to make the person with him or her feel understood and respected. Okay, and then that will be the meat of our talk, no, this afternoon. Daniel Goleman is an author and science journalist. In his 1995 book entitled Emotional Intelligence, which was one of the New York bestseller list, made a list of competencies for leader and categorizing it into two, personal competence and social competence. For personal competence, self-awareness, self-assessment, self-confidence, self-control, transparency, adaptability, achievement, initiative, and optimism. So the personal ability one should possess as a gauge of being a good leader. Social competence, on the other hand, is I believe is listed for a leader's capacity to relate, to interact with others. So like empathy, organizational awareness, service, inspirational leadership, developing others, creating change, conflict management. Same with Spears' list on the previous slide about healing, and then building bonds. Similar to building community, and teamwork and collaboration. Okay, in this illustration, this is based from Stephen Covey's book on the same title, The Leader in Me. He mentioned four steps, or the four imperatives of leadership. So allow me to share this. The first one, step one, although in the illustration, it is not being in sequential order. No? So the first is inspired trust. So it's at the center. If you notice in the illustration, it is being placed at the center, signifying its importance. And are you familiar with the activity Blind Trust Walk? I don't know if you able to experience that one, Blind Trust Walk. It is very usually one of the activities, no? If you're going to, or if you are going to conduct workshop or training with leadership theme or team building themes. And in that activity where the participants were blindfolded, forming a straight line and asked to walk together and reach a specific place or point without breaking the line. So as a twist, the participants didn't know that the first and the last persons were not blindfolded. So all they were thinking, they thought that all of them were blindfolded in that straight line, one straight line. And then they thought that everybody is blindfolded. So when asked during the processing about the key to their success, no, or how they completed the task, some would mention trust, that keeps them holding on to the person in front while trying to secure the person at the back. And then there are lots of activities that you can find to elicit trust. So trust is an important factor, especially when working in groups. Step two, clarify purpose, just on top of inspire trust. That's the step two. So it means you need to clarify your mission, vision of the group. Okay, it should be clearly presented and clearly known to all the members of the group. What is your objective? What is your goal? Step three, align systems. Roles and functions should be in harmony. So all of it should also be in harmony with mission and objectives of the group. So what do you want to achieve? What would you like for your group to achieve? And then systems need to be aligned with the mission, the vision, and strategy. And then the step four, so unleash talent. So you unleash, no? The leader can do all to achieve the set goals of the group. So the leader sets the example, leading by example, empowering the members to demonstrate differently or in a unique way. So by providing opportunity to show on their own, the group may discover multiple talents, no? The skills from the group. So unleash their hidden skills and talents. Like for example, if you have one project or one task that requires a very unique talent, so that group would be can easily get talents from the members. Okay. Okay. Am I still there? Oh, is my audio still clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Ms. Jera. Okay. Okay. Sorry. For a while, huh? Okay. Still clear? It's all right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So allow me to go back on step one, no? Being placed at the center, the inspire trust. No? So the question there is, how can we inspire trust? Okay. here. So this can be best explained through the pyramid of influence. So if you notice the pyramid, no? There's this base and then the topmost as the pinnacle. Um, the base of the pyramid is modeling, okay, or example. Example is what is seen. So good example, what creates leadership credibility. So it can be seen, okay. And then the leader must be first trustworthy. So both character and competence. Then the leader is in the good position to inspire members to trust, to influence others, because the members can see it's very clear. It can be seen. No? So the next level of the pyramid is relating. So represents the quality of relationship we have with others. Relating is what is felt. Okay. So this will be represented by the amount of care, consideration, and empathy that exists in a relationship. In an old saying, no, in an old adage, that people will not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Would you agree? Right? Uh, in Robert Marzano's book, actually, Robert Marzano is an educational researcher. He said, if a teacher has a good relationship with students, then students accept her roles, procedures, and disciplinary actions. Okay. The topmost of the for a while, huh? There's a notification. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The pinnacle of pyramid of influence is teaching. So once students feel understood and accepted, okay, they are then more open to influence. So similarly for teachers or for leaders, no, if they were able to allow the group to feel valued, to feel respected and understood, it would be easier for leaders to influence the group. So teaching is the culmination of what is seen, felt, and heard. So inspiring trust is the vital core of any change initiative. Okay. So that's the pyramid of influence. In Samuel Gladding's book, group, it's a group process book, no, about counseling specialty. He mentioned personal qualities of effective group leaders. So one may reflect on the following questions: who am I? How much do you know yourself? How much do you know yourself? Uh, do you have enough knowledge of yourself, or are you your self-awareness? How self-aware are you? And then who am I with you? The relationship when you're in a group, and then the level of interaction or your social competence enough. And lastly, who are we together? What makes the group distinct from others? And then what separates your group from other groups? In that same book, Curry, 2008, enumerated leadership skills along with active listening, initiating, supporting, and so on and so forth. Empathizing is one described as the capacity to identify clients or co-members in the group uh, by assuming their frames of references. So putting oneself in their place. So the aim or the desired outcome for this specific skill is to foster trust in the therapeutic relationships, to communicate understanding, to encourage deeper levels of self-exploration. So may it be a support group or a task group, same holds true to how leaders deal with others in the group. Prode Gorjuchon, I hope I pronounced this well, Gorjuchon, no? She's a psychiatrist and at the same time a psychoanalyst. In her article entitled Empathy is an Essential Leadership Skills, and there's nothing soft about it, She identified 5 essential cognitive capacities and personality traits that includes empathy, along with different traits like self-awareness, trust, critical thinking, and discipline or self-control. Empathy means the ability to understand another person's experience, perspective, and feelings, which is also called vicarious introspection, commonly described as the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes. So how they would feel in their shoes, not how you would feel if you're in their shoes. So empathy is natural data gathering that enables you to understand the human environment. Why the need of empathy? Okay, for Carl Roger, by the way, is the proponent of client-centered or person-centered counseling technique. He said that it is a human need to be understood, to be accepted, to be recognized, and to be respected. Aside from that, with empathy provides an opportunity for self-discovery. Who are you? What skills do you have? What traits do you have? In empathy, um, one will be able to practice and apply listening, active listening, which is also important in the dynamics of the group. And then with understanding, with others feeling, being valued and recognized, it would be easier for the group to work as a team. And then teamwork will then come in handy. It's very easy for the group to work as a team. And lastly, with empathy, you can make the group stick together. You can develop team cohesion. Okay. Okay, not everything comes in perfect fit, no? There are always downsides, no? Drawbacks. Empathy could lead to poor decision making, and then our feelings and connections can lead us to come more about a single person than the group as a whole. Empathy takes a lot of energy, time, and emotions, which may lead to burnout and fatigue. Empathy could be very brief. We may be empathetic at once, but up to how long? How to sustain is another concern. No, it's another question. And lastly, because it requires a lot of energy and time, empathy can be limited and can only be applied one at a time. So one must have enough time to spend as much as possible for everyone, no? To everyone in the group. I don't know if you are a Netflix fan or subscriber, no? There is a series in that so Netflix uh, about American TV series, no? The Good Doctor. I don't know if if the title is correct, no? The Good Doctor. Actually, it's adapted, no? Korean adaptation, and then the story is all about a doctor who has a autism spectrum, but who also have savant syndrome, no? And then in that one of the episodes entitled Empathy. So it's good. I don't know if it's in the season 1 or season 2. So it's very good, no? It's very good to empathy. It was clearly described or presented in that particular TV series. Okay. So how can we then practice empathy in leadership? How can we be empathetic to others? Okay. Okay, the first one, allow me to share to you these 4 words, actually 5. Listen and learn. So practice the art of listening. So listening without judgment and biases. So as I mentioned earlier, the 5 levels, make sure to practice, no, the highest form of listening, the empathic listening. So you listen without any judgment, without any biases. Okay. So active listening is indeed very difficult to practice, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It may take time and practice, no? Making it a habit to lend a listening ears to others, and then take some time to learn from others. So by doing this, it's like showing that we recognize and we accepted others. Okay. and the dogs. My apologies to the dogs. Okay. Second one, okay. Open. Open the close the open. Be a person without enclosing barriers. Be available. Be transparent. Be an accepting person who can easily adjust to what comes along the way. The third one, value. Learn how to value things, small things, actions, and gestures from others. Appreciate the presence of others and the relationship it brings. Learn how to cherish successes, small victories and triumphs of others. Learn to celebrate those things. And lastly, engage. So it is like a pledge of oneself. No? It is like a promise to be a part of and be involved and be one with others. Only then by these four ideas might help us to become a better, no? Or to help them better on how to be an empathetic leader or empathic leader. So if you notice, the initials will form a word love. You might be wondering, why are you talking about love? Valentine's had gone already and siguro mga 6 months. To take us 6 months to celebrate it again next year pa. So in almost all of my sharing, may it be about coping skills or career decision making skills, I always mention this word love. Isn't it good to feel love and be loved, right? It's our one of our needs also, right? So Viktor Frankl, actually one of my favorite psychologists or psychiatrists, said in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, okay, that love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. No one can become fully aware of the very essence of another human being unless he loves him. And then furthermore, he added that by making him aware of what he can be and what he should become, he makes these potentialities come true. So see how powerful love is. The power of love can only just, I mean, the power of love cannot only just move mountains. It can change. No? By the way, Viktor Frankl was the proponent of logotherapy. Actually, here's his book. I don't know if you can see it clearly. No? Man's Search for Meaning. And then his book, it's a narrative of his experiences in the concentration camp, because he was a Jewish and Austrian from Vienna. He was imprisoned for many years at the concentration camp in Auschwitz, and then there he narrated his experiences, and then from that he was able to created the logotherapy, the will to meaning, no? Finding meaning. So it's like, I hope we will be able to find also meaning despite these trying times that we're having right now. Okay. Empathetic leadership could also be a way of taking care of our very self. So being able to understand, accept, respect, and recognize others can be the product of acquiring sufficient knowledge about our personal self. If you understood and accepted, respected, and recognized others, then there's no reason you can't for yourself. There's no reason for you to understand yourself, to recognize, to accept yourself. So leadership is not control. It is first and foremost a model of self-responsibility. A leader's power would come from their honesty and from their willingness to lead their own process and respect the process of other persons. So that's by Ann Wilson Schaff. She's an American clinical psychologist and at the same time an author. So Oprah Winfrey, she's very famous, no, a TV host. No? She also said, leadership is about, okay, leadership is about empathy. It is about having the ability to relate to and connect with people for the purpose of inspiring and empowering their lives. In these trying times, with so many uncertainties, lot of things, no, the lot of things to worry, no, maybe it be for ourselves, for our family, for others, and then this is the right time to connect, to relate with others. So after all, we're all social being, and we can be far better if we are with others. So in this challenging time, we may continue to inspire and empower others, and then let us all together find the empathic leader in us. So I think that ends my presentation for this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, sir.
Mr. Pasensya na
So,
sa dog.
yeah, also in here, pasensya sa chickens.
Okay.
Okay, so um, if you have questions, kindly put them in the chat box. Let's just give Sir Jeff a few minutes to relax a bit. Okay. Sir Jeff, I've heard that you have been training also students for leadership. Um,
Yes, yes.
what are the common misconceptions of students regarding leadership? Because we know that some of us came from schools whose leadership is more say for example hard on leadership, whereas compared to a more service type of leadership which we often do at UP. So are there some common misconceptions of students about being a leader, and
Okay, this is.
why is it important for us to know about it?
I think the usual, no, like for example, if you are, this is based from my experience also, no, if you are way back when we were still studying, no, especially the basic education, if you're assigned in a group and then you're given a specific project and then you're the leader, so automatically you're the one making everything. That's the misconception sometimes, no. So commonly, it's a very uh, responsibility is huge, no? Big if you are a leader. But then again, usually I encourage my students. Before I usually give seminars for athletes. No, I mentioned that one. Specifically, mga basketball players, athletes. So for everyone, for them, no, I try to teach them to be a leader sa kanila mismo, no, on their very own, no, and then find that potentialities, because whether you like it or not, you will always be with, I mean, may mga times na you will do that certain task by yourself. So it's also very good na you will find the leadership potentialities in you. Okay, Ms. Sierra.
I see. And oftentimes, sir, if I'm not mistaken, students, when they are put in a certain group and to work with the group directly in a short period of time, you cannot actually ask the students to build in trust within that group directly, because
Yes.
sometimes the idea of trust happens only after few encounters or um, participation with the group. So technically, it's also hard
Yes,
for
it's also.
for the students to actually create that trust and
Mm,
take all of the strengths of the other students so that they can complete a task. So I think for the teachers as well, it's best that we start with a group for the students that they will work on for the year and not just for
mhm.
a week.
Per week, yes,
So
that's very good. Allowing them
so
to experience more. Oh,
yes, being together and
yes.
building that trust. Thank you so much for that, sir. So, okay na ba, sir, if we start answering some of the questions
Okay.
that we have here? Ready na po ba kayo?
I will try to answer those questions. Huh?
Okay.
I
So,
will try.
we have question number 1. Does empathy start in childhood? And how can children be trained to develop empathy?
Okay. Yes, we can train someone, a child, to be empathetic, no, based from my presentation, no, if the person uh, feels, no, being understood, uh, being respected, and being recognized, it will be easier for that person or for that child to share or to do the same, no, that gesture. And then similar with the inspire trust, no, uh, if the behavior is witnessed or being witnessed by the child at the early stage, no, he'll be able to, or the child will be able to practice, the child will be able to make it a habit. So, to do that very good gesture of being empathic to other person also. So yes, of course, it can be, we can train someone
You
to
can
be
train a
empathic.
child,
Mm.
even a child, just by modeling and letting the child
Yes,
see
modeling the good behavior. Yes.
a good behavior. Okay, so next question. Sir, going back to the tree illustration earlier, can you describe the levels in the tree? So
Okay.
what does it mean now? Okay.
I will get my other notes for a while. The illustration is in the book,
Yes.
for a while. For a while. Just give me some time. I need to check the drawing. So in that drawing, no, if you notice in the drawing, there's this. Here, I'm getting the book, the word text. So here, okay. So there's this. If you notice, no, there are different person, no, on the tree, under the tree, and then yes. Uh, this will be dependent on the responses of the participants. Like for example, if they choose this particular number, and then you will ask them what made them choose that number. So you will not be imposing your ideas, but you will get their ideas. This is just to elicit their understanding. Like for example, if you are a leader, and then would you be settling, just being on the sideline, or will you be that kind of person, be on top, very competitive, be on top without just watching the persons below, or will you be that person helping each other, no, as a group, a very supportive group. So that's just the uh, theme, or the basic concept of that drawing. But then again, it's the responses of the participants. Like for example, if you're going to use that one for your activity, and then you can elicit their responses, and with that you'll be able to process. So what made you decide? uh, how will that help you if you are a leader in that group, being on the sideline or being on top of everyone? So it's a matter of how you process the responses. Okay.
So the tree will give you an idea as to what the participants look at himself or herself as a
Yes.
leader as of the moment.
Mhm.
And you can process that later on when you try to teach them more about leadership.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the main goal of that particular illustration. Thank you so much for that, sir. Let's go to the next question.
Mm.
How can be one an empathetic leader within the context of the new normal, such as working from home or having only virtual settings?
Okay. Yes. No. It's as what I have said. It's very challenging. No. It's a very challenging situation, but we can be more empathetic. We can be more. We can establish a good relationship with other person, or with other person in the group, by of course listening, by understanding them, by being able to respect their, of course, weaknesses or whatever things they fail to, like for example, comply in a particular task, and then allow them to feel that they are, of course, recognized despite the challenges that we are encountering, that they are encountering. Allow them to feel that they are being cared, allow them to feel that they are being accepted, recognized, and those things, no. So with that, this is very challenging because it's, you will not be able to, there are barriers, no. Okay, remote setup, so it's challenging, but then again, that that doesn't mean that it's impossible. uh, that can be, I mean, that's doable. Yes.
Okay, sir. So there can still be ways to be empathetic even in the new normal. And as long as you are a leader who tries as much as possible to communicate well with your members and your team, even with the new normal, you can still be an effective leader. Okay. So next question. Um, let's look into the question number 4. One of the participants said, "Thank you, sir, for an informative discussion. I am curious as to the extent in which empathetic leadership should apply. When can we say that it is already enough so it will not lead to tolerance or abuse by people in the organization?" I repeat, sir. Sir, I am curious as to the extent in which empathetic leadership should apply. When can we say that it is already enough so it will not lead to tolerance or abuse by people in the organization?
Okay. So again, no, as I mentioned earlier, no, being an empathetic leader or empathic leader, it takes a lot of energy. You will not be able to, or it's very challenging, no, to spend time for each one in the group, no. And but then, if you feel that the you're being, uh, like for example, if you feel that your action is already uh, undermine, no, or at the expense of the group, I think you can say na it's no longer helping you, it's no longer healthy. Okay, if the performance of the group is way, or
Is
it's
dwindling.
different, it's failing, yes, you can say that it's not working. So empathetic, yes, very challenging, very difficult to follow, difficult to practice, because you will be spending most of your time to each and every one. But then, yes, you need also to consider that it will not put the group at risk, as the group in general. I mean, so it's for everyone, not just to a single person. So not being empathetic is not just for one person, but it's for everyone. And then with that, if they feel that you are doing that, uh, more often than not, other people will also be influenced by your gesture as a leader. They will also be influenced by your action.
Yes. So you have to be very mindful if your actions are working towards the betterment of the group or not. So it's always important to be very sensitive about the matters going on and to be also very vigilant about the behavior of your group. Okay, let's have another question. Sir, what could be a compromise po if someone in the group did something wrong? Do we give proper punishment or simply remind him or her of his mistake? Because if this is the case, some members may see this as a biased movement on the part of the leader. Ready ko na, Sir Ham? Sir, what could be a proper compromise if someone in the group did something wrong? Do we give proper punishment or simply remind him or her of his or her mistake? Because if this is the case, some members may see this as a biased movement on the part of the leader.
Okay. Being an empathic leader, no, it's very prone to abuses, no? And then others may feel that it's not good for the group, no? Okay, you are like, it's like being tolerant, it's like being uh, considerate, very considerate to a particular. But if the behavior of that particular person undermine the group, or if kung sa Tagalog pa na masisira ang group with that particular behavior, and then I think it's the call for the leader to decide. It's or even the members of that group to decide. As a leader, also you will allow the members, because you understood the members, you respected all the members. You can also gather their opinion about the certain like behavior, no? And then if that particular behavior uh, undermine the group, so you will decide. Okay, if it's no longer healthy for the group, that behavior, that gesture of that particular member, if it's no longer healthy for the group, then it's better, no, to act on it, to do something about it. And then it doesn't mean you are no longer empathetic. It's no longer. It doesn't mean it's no longer. It will not mean that you are a different leader after all. So you are just looking at the, are you going to call this, the well-being of everyone in that group.
Okay. So again, the topmost priority would always be the well-being of the whole group and not just one individual. There's another question here. In a corporate perspective, most businesses are more focused on being systematic and process oriented, which is the total opposite of putting emotions first. How can you inspire your team to be empathetic as well, especially on members that does not care for the feelings of others? Sure, we often have those kinds of work relationships at some points because individuals often vary. Am I right, sir?
Yes, yes,
And
Miss Jeff.
okay. So in this case, sir, is there any activity or points of interaction where a leader can actually inspire other team members to be empathetic to each other?
Okay. So again, no, there are lots of activities that you can create, or you can uh, have for a specific group. And then one of those, no, team building activities, or leadership uh, activities, wherein equal opportunity for members of that group will be able to they're given equal opportunity to share, to feedback, or whatever their experiences being in that group. And then with that opportunity given to them, uh, members of that group may feel that uh, his or her presence in the group is being respected. His or her presence in that group is being accepted, no? So in that manner, uh, I think it's a big thing, no? It can do something about the group, that the members of the group were given opportunity to share, to to be listened to, uh, being able to feel that they are being also cared. So there are lots of activities. There are lots of activities, and then feedbacking like that, or yes, Miss
Oh.
Jera.
Thank you so much for that, sir. There are actually a lot of questions regarding workplace and empathetic leadership here, sir.
I hope I can
Um, so
answer that.
um, mm, um, in my case, I only hold two staff. So
Okay.
I think it was an easier option for me, being a leader, only having two staff to work with.
Yes.
But there is this one thing that I always ask my staff to do. which is to focus on the work they are asked.
Mhm.
So if their contract says that they will do communications, they will only do communications. If their contract says they do technical jobs or technical work, they will only do technical work. And I will supervise them on only on those aspects and not on the other aspects, because they were hired for that particular job, and you shouldn't judge them based on another job that they are not actually hired for.
Yes.
Mm. So um, again, this looks back into how the leader would put the job together or put the task. Again, we try to maximize the talents of our own members, and by maximizing the talents of our own members, it doesn't mean that maximizing the amount of work that they do, but rather maximizing what they can do on that certain work that they are very good at.
Mhm.
So that allows us to hear and to focus on their complaints or their needs uh, one by one, and not being biased with the other because the two of them will have two different jobs to work on, or another person will have a different job to work on that you have to deal with him or her, and
Mhm.
not just a like set of tasks. Sometimes in an organization, of course, you will be given committee works, which are
Yes.
technically different from what you will always do on a daily basis. But when in a committee work, you always tell your leader what you are able to do
Mhm.
and what you are very confident at doing,
Mhm.
because that will allow the leader to delegate the task effectively to you, and you effectively accomplishing the task. So this is not just about the leader also, but also the members. So if you wanted to also become an empathetic member, or a member who understands the way of the group, you will also have to listen, to your leader, as well as to tell your leader what you can actually do. So para less ang mga laggards o less food ang nasobraan ka hard work na nahimo ng haggard.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So, and also it also limits, I think, the abuse in terms of emotional, anong tawag ba dun, sir? Yung parang, ano ba? Parang kapit na kapit.
Okay.
Emotional clinginess, no? And
Okay.
idea of biases within the group.
Mhm.
Okay, let's have, sir, okay pa ba na may two more questions po tayo?
Sige, sige. Two more questions.
If kaya pa. But
Sige,
if
sige.
okay lang
Two more
naman na
questions, yes.
one,
Two more,
okay
yes.
lang pinatin. Okay. Okay. So this is one, I think, very, uh, how do you call that? Dividing question. So
Uh,
should more empathy be given to those who perform in organization, or to the laggards, or should empathy be applied equally across all employees? I think this is also in connection with the idea that empathy is actually hard to do, and sometimes you need a lot of time to be able to exact what empathy is. So should more empathy be given to those who perform in an organization, or to the laggards? Or should empathy be applied equally across all employees?
I think it's for everyone, no? So it should start from the leader, no? And then with that, members being able to witness, no, being able to experience the kind of leader, the way leader establish a good relationship among the members. I think that creates a different that creates a very good atmosphere in that group, no. So I think it should be for everyone. It should be for everyone, and then as a leader it should start from the person, the leader himself, no? And then uh, hopefully with how you with that pyramid, no, in pyramid of influence, you are able to influence also others to do the same among each members of that group. As what I've said, it's difficult. Yes, it's very uh, time consuming, energy. Your energy will be kailangan malaki yung energy na gagamitin mo, no? nakakapagod, yes. But then it doesn't mean it's an art, no? You can practice. You can practice that one, and it's doable.
Okay. So again, empathetic leadership is doable. It might ask for a lot of energy from the individual doing it, but it is possible and it's doable. And it can also give a lot of, in fact, a lot of benefits to an organization. So question, Sir Jeff. Meron akong question para sa'yo. This is a personal question because in the
Okay.
TLRC, in the TLRC, we do good mornings every morning.
Okay.
Do you do that as well in your group?
How do you specifically do that?
Actually, we have not a messenger group, but actually we're using the Microsoft Teams, and every day we do good mornings before handing over our um, review from the last day.
Mhm.
So we do good mornings every
Mhm.
day, and we also try to check in on uh, everyone's work after that,
Mhm.
and also give a lot of GIFs, funny GIFs to start the day. So yeah, do you also have that kind
Ah,
of like tradition in your group?
okay. Am I allowed to answer that one? But before I mean, how do you find that simple gesture? How do you find that gesture being applied in your group, Miss Jera? How do you find it?
As for me, I really like it, and I
Mhm.
think it actually sets me up for the day, knowing that I have people with me. Because before I was working alone, and I don't
Mhm.
have people to rely on, and I can feel right now that I have talents to rely on every time they do that every morning. So it's kind of assuring as a leader that you have members who are willing to work with
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. So you're saying that it's making a difference before using it, before applying it, compared now that you're using it. Does it
Yes,
make a difference?
it makes the difference actually.
So I will apply that one. I mean,
Yes.
okay.
We have a very sweet girl in the staff, and the name is Noel.
Noel, yes.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. So there's a couple of messages for you over the chat, sir.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know my setup here and my gadget. I can't read those messages. So
It's okay,
oh,
sir.
okay.
And some said, they said thank you already. Okay.
Okay, you're welcome.
So empathetic leadership is very exhausting but rewarding when we see the people grow, like it's your parent to all your subordinates. It is very insightful session. Thank you so much. I think that empathy should start from oneself, trying to portray empathy to others by not being true, or others can actually feel that, which can create distrust. So it needs to be coming from oneself. Thank you, sir. A lot of good points are being raised, and this is highly notable. It's very important to find balance on the team. Okay, so I hope to this afternoon session is very insightful for everyone who are with us right now. Michael is giving out the evaluation form for today. Don't forget to evaluate and also let us know through the LRC email if you have already got your certificates. Um, Again, thank you so much, everyone. Sir Jeff, a huge thank you sa imo ang pagdawat sa amo ang invitation. Do you have last message or parting message to our participants today?
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking time to listen, learn something this afternoon. And then I hope na we may not be the ideal empathic leader, but try to be, yeah, starts with our own self, no? And then to the person close to you, and then practice and practice, especially in this very challenging time. So learn how to accept others, learn how to understand others, recognize others. And then before that, of course, you need also to understand, accept, and recognize yourself. So that should start from the very self. Good afternoon din. Pasensya na sa aking Tagalog na may pagka-Greek accent at saka German accent na combination. And then the dogs, my apologies.
Thank you
Miss
so
Jera,
much,
Sir
Sir
Michael.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Jeff. Thank you so much, everyone. Michael, thank you so much. I do hope that Noel is also here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us and always sticking to our regular Saturday schedules for the TLRC, TTBDO, and Office of the Student Affairs at UP Cebu. We are very happy to have you here with us. And we hope to see you in our next series, parts of series and episodes. We also have a teaching series, which always happens on a Wednesday, starting this August. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for coming, and don't forget to evaluate. We'll be closing the webinar at exactly 2:40 p.m. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Sir Jeff, thank you so much. Okay. So these are evaluation reminders. Our evaluation and processing of e-certificates are automated. Please make sure to type in the correct spelling of your name, since this will reflect on your e-certificates. Also, please be mindful in typing your email address, because it is where you'll receive your email e-certificates. We suggest that you keep a copy of your response and evaluation for you to verify if you have made mistakes. Normally, it takes less than 3 minutes after submitting to receive your certificate, and should you not be able to receive it by 5 p.m. today, just send us a reply message with your concern to the confirmation email that we sent, msgalorio@up.edu.ph, and we will manually send the certificate on the next working day. Thank you so much. By the way, our secretariat here, Michael Andrew Galorio, kindly email him if you have problem with your e-certificates. But as we know, these certificates will be given right after you have sent in your evaluation forms. Thank you so much for being with us. I do hope you receive your e-certificates fast, and there will be no problem. And also, we hope to see you in our next leg and episodes for the Psychosocial Development Series from the TLRC, TTBDO, and the UP Cebu OSA. Thank you so much, Michael. We'll be ending exactly at 2:40. So hopefully nakakuha na ng certificates most of our participants. Okay. And thank you so much. Kumusta ang working from home, Michael?
Okay lang po, miss.
I have chickens here. So many chickens.
Oo nga eh.
But they give me eggs every day. Free range eggs.
Hi, Sir
And I'm
Mike.
so
Sir
happy.
Michael. Nakastalisay, sir.
Na ako sa Cebu nga karon, Sir Jeff.
He's at Subonga. He's very far.
Wow. Nice ra ba ang kuan ni ano? Unsay delicacy gani sa Cebu nga? Photo ba to or
Ito, may nag-ask ng link for the evaluation form. Sa Sibonga, sir, ano?
yung delicacy nila? Yung pan ba? Yung dried na banana with sugar.
Parang ganun.
Sa Karkar yun, sir. Kaya,
sa Karkar? Okay.
Cebu nga, parang wala.
Parang wala?
Oh.
Baka natakot ka na mag-ask kami. Joke lang, Sir Michael.
Sa Karkar, sa chicharon at saka yung banana chips sa Karkar.
Yun.
I also did some volunteer work at Sibonga before, especially in the local college. Sir Jeff.
Okay.
Meron silang local college doon.